Hi, today Wheezer and I are visiting the kind of place that most people don't like to visit. However, it's a beautiful, peaceful place in Claremont, and it holds a lot of Claremont's early history. So come on with us. We're going to visit Oak Park Cemetery.
Now, before you say I've gone off my meds and entered a depression spiral, remember that this channel is about beautiful and historic places in and around Claremont. So what better place to visit than this beautiful, quiet spot loaded with history, and to pay tribute to the earliest movers and shakers of Claremont who reside here forever. And before you come here looking for Fred Astaire and Ginger Rogers, they're at Oakwood Cemetery in Los Angeles. Oak Park Cemetery is located at 410 Sycamore Street in Claremont. It occupies 10 quiet, shady acres among beautiful native California oak and sycamore trees. The land was owned by the Pomona Land and Water Company, and in 1897 it was sold to Thomas Barrows to be used as a small community cemetery. In 1900, it was incorporated as a non-profit. In 1978, due to financial pressure, the cemetery's ownership was transferred to the city of Claremont. In 2024, Oak Park Cemetery acquired a 1-acre parcel on its northern border, allowing for an additional 996 grave sites, restroom facilities, scatter garden, and shaded walking paths. There are many signs around the grounds stating that dogs are not allowed. However, every time I've come here, there have been people walking their dogs, even with the park rangers present. A couple of interesting things about cemeteries. If you visit one where people were buried between 1870 and 1900, look for any gravestones with an unusual blue-gray color. Chances are you found a zinker. Zinkers were less expensive gravestones, marketed as white bronze, more durable than stone, and many came with intricate removable nameplates. If you find one, give it a tap and you'll hear a distinctive metallic ting. They were made by the Monumental Bronze Company out of Bridgeport, Connecticut, and they fell out of favor in about 1900. Because this park opened just before 1900, and because it's not in the east, there are no zinkers at Oak Park that I could find. Now let's visit with some of Claremont's earliest influencers, starting with Thomas Barrows, who we talked about before. Barrows was a founding member of the Board of Trustees at Pomona College. He purchased this 10-acre parcel in 1897 to be a small memorial garden for his beloved sister, Octavia Barrows Vale, whose health was declining. After laying her to rest, within 7 weeks, Thomas joined her. The Barrows were the first to be interred here. Over the next 2 years, without Thomas at the helm, the decision was made to incorporate as the Oak Park Cemetery Association, a non-profit entity. For the next 78 years, the cemetery was largely maintained by volunteer efforts and community committees until the city of Claremont took ownership. Barrows' house was one of the first in Claremont. It was originally built at 351 Alexander Avenue, which later became Indian Hill Boulevard. Then it was moved to 428 West Harrison, where it became Claremont's first high school. Thomas was an avid photographer, and some of the earliest photographs of Claremont were taken by Thomas. many of which contained his own handwritten notes and locations. On the subject of schools in Claremont, let's visit with Eleanor Condit. Eleanor is known for her 30-year career in Claremont's public schools and her new methods of teacher training and student learning. In 1929, Eleanor started teaching 5th grade in Claremont. As a teacher, Eleanor used current events and local news to teach her students about the world. There were many trips to the colleges, library, the Claremont Courier, and Griswold's. After 12 years of teaching at the Claremont Grammar School, now Sycamore Elementary School, Eleanor was appointed principal. Eleanor helped implement the school's library program and took on the job of desegregating Claremont schools during the 50s. Eleanor helped plan and open Claremont's 2nd and 3rd elementary schools. Oakmont Elementary opened in 1950, and then Vista del Val opened in 1953. Eleanor was the principal of all 3 elementary schools until her passing. The 4th elementary school was under construction when Eleanor passed away from cancer in 1957. That school was named the Eleanor Daly Condit School. Another interesting fact about cemeteries is that for a long time Sears and Roebuck was the main supplier of grave markers in the U.S. They offered many different styles, they were cheap, and they shipped anywhere in the United States. You can find Sears grave markers in just about every cemetery in the country. I think I found at least a few here in Oak Park. Close by is Pastor Charles Sumner. In 1888, he left the Pilgrim Congregational Church in Pomona to become Pomona College's financial agent with supervisory authority, a position in which he assumed the duties of the unofficial first college president. The college began teaching its first classes in Ayer Cottage in Pomona in what is now the parking lot of Angelo's Burgers. Sumner convinced donors to provide 80 acres of land on Piedmont Mesa in North Claremont for the original site of Pomona College. On the day they laid the cornerstone on the mesa, the college acquired an unfinished hotel in Pomona, today's Sumner Hall, and moved it to the 50 acres, located on College Avenue and 4th Street, also acquired from Santa Fe Railroad. He later relocated his house to Claremont in 1901, living in it during the move. Sumner remained a Pomona College trustee until his retirement in 1924. Sumner's beautiful Victorian home can be found on the corner of 1st and College. Sumner succumbed to pneumonia in July of 1927. Nearby is the tomb of James Arnold Blaisdell. Blaisdell's name and his influence can be seen all over Claremont. He was a minister who became the 4th president of Pomona College from 1910 to 1927. Blaisdell took over Pomona College during financial hardships. He didn't take no for an answer and rallied Pomona College into a powerhouse both academically and financially. He envisioned building a group of colleges, all sharing common buildings and services, which proved very efficient and successful. He invited philanthropist Helen Browning Scripps to visit the college. She was so impressed with Blaisdell's energy that she began acquiring land for the expansion of the Claremont colleges, specifically to build a women's college. In the end, her gifts provided enough land for 5 additional colleges and 2 graduate universities, with much more undeveloped land for future expansion. James was laid to rest in January of 1957 under the shade of a large sycamore tree. Another reason why you might want to visit a cemetery, aside from getting outside, breathing fresh air, and enjoying beautiful, peaceful surroundings, is so that you can be a cemetery detective or a photo volunteer. Loved ones request a headstone photo from a memorial page by clicking on Request Photo. Photo volunteers then claim the request and have 14 days to photograph the headstone and upload it to the memorial page. Anyone visiting a cemetery can fulfill a photo request on the spot using the Find a Grave app. It's really fun, and it's a great way to get outside, stretch your legs, and do a little investigation work. Not to mention helping family members to get reconnected. Here he is, Steve. Michael Hugh Thomas. Nearby is Frank Brackett. Dr. Frank Parkhurst Brackett was a prominent faculty member of Pomona College. He graduated from Dartmouth College in 1887 and came to California soon afterwards. He became the first member of the Pomona College faculty, teaching out of Ayr Cottage, where he taught mathematics and later astronomy when Thomas Barrows donated a second-hand 6-inch telescope. Brackett Field, or Brackett Airport, and the Brackett Observatory are named after him. He is the author of Granite and Sagebrush, a history of Pomona College, as well as another history of the Pomona region. The eucalyptus trees along College Avenue were planted by Brackett, along with many others around Claremont. He worked alongside H.A. Palmer, the forgotten founder of Claremont. Brackett was known as the chairman of the Street Tree Committee. After selecting and planting the trees himself, it was his job to drive up and down the streets of Claremont with buckets of water to keep them healthy and happy. Dr. Brackett slipped away in September of 1951. Lee and Edith Pitzer. The Pitzer home is on the corner of Town and Baseline and is recognizable by most Claremonters. The Pitzer family moved into it on Friday the 13th, 1912. Blanche Pitzer was a driving force with the Girl Scouts in the area, and she donated 5 acres along the Thompson Creek and built a cabin for them. Lee and his brother Russell had citrus fields all over Claremont, amounting to hundreds of acres. When Blanche became ill in 1949, Lee donated 10 acres of citrus groves to build a tasteful retirement community with a small medical facility for her convalescence, which became Claremont Manor. Blanche passed away in 1951, and Lee passed away in 1969. Just a side note, Pitzer College was actually named for Russell Pitzer, Lee's older brother, who was a local philanthropist and orange grower. Russell donated greatly to the colleges and Pomona Hospital. Pitzer College was founded by him and named for him, and the school symbol is an orange. Russell passed away in 1978 and is buried at a different cemetery nearby in Pomona. Last but certainly not least is Judy Wright. A very prominent figure in Claremont, she was known as Ms. Claremont. Judy was on the city council for 13 years, She was also the mayor from 1986 to 1989. She was instrumental in the preservation of the Claremont Depot, getting it registered as a National Historic Place and establishing it as a Metrolink stop. Wright was a dedicated historian, and she wrote 3 books: Claremont Women, 1887 through 1950, and 2 editions of Claremont Pictorial History, which influenced me greatly in doing these videos about Claremont. She was the town's Grand Marshal in 1996, and Wright received the Cultural Heritage Award in 2009. The Claremont Depot now houses the Lewis Museum, which hosts art walks and Saturday evening jazz concerts. On the wall of the depot hangs a small memorial plaque for her. Judy passed away in 1992, and she was laid to rest under a humble headstone. What is it about visiting a cemetery that gives us discomfort? Is it the fact that knowing
Inevitably we're going to have to leave everything we know and love? Is it the end? Or do we get to start all over again with a clean slate and a brand new life? Some deep thoughts here. If you like my little videos, please consider subscribing to my channel and like, comment, and share on the video because it does my channel a world good. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time around. Bye-bye now.
Remember me, though I have to say goodbye. Remember me, don't let it make you cry. For even if I'm far away, I hold you in my heart. I sing a secret song to you each night we are apart. Remember me, though I have to travel far. Remember me, each time you hear a sad guitar. Know that I'm with you the only way that I can be, until you're in my arms again. Remember me, though I have to travel far. Remember me, each time you hear a sad guitar. Know that I'm with you the only way that I can be, until